Hello everybody, I'm glad to be here. Welcome to Friendship Shaving. I'm going to be returning tonight to the Rex Supply Company Ambassador Razor, and this one is called Elvis. You can see it up on the windowsill next to the original, the Gibbs number 17 adjustable razor from France. And I'll be doing a little side-by-side comparison of those. I've also got, you might be able to see, my Gillette Slim. Now Brian was asking me if I could do a comparison between the Rex Ambassador and the Gillette Slim. Now I don't know about that. It's like comparing a zebra with a thoroughbred racehorse, I guess. But there are some points I'd like to make, so I will bring the Gillette Slim into the proceedings tonight. Now I've already got some pre-shave cream on my face. This is the EAD pre-shave cream, and it was sent to me by my good buddy up in the valleys in South Wales, Graham, or Flash Baldwin, and he picked it up for me at the pound shop. I think in America they're called the dollar store, where everything in the shop, near enough, costs £1. And for a cheap product, it's certainly quite good. Now it's mentholated, and I've got that sat on my skin. I'll be using my Varnish Badger little ever ready brush, and I've had that soaking. And tonight I've got my soap blooming in my little bowl. I'm just going to add that bloom water to my skin, and I'm using the Peaked Blinders soap from Prohibition Style Shaving. Oh, it smells nice. I've had it in the den for a while, but I just haven't got around to using it, so I thought tonight was about time I used it. So I'm going to get lathering that up tonight. Now there we go, I'll just get going with that. I lost my train of thought slightly there, excuse me. I did mention in last week's video that the Rex Ambassador, or Elvis, came in at 100 grams. Well, I looked at the website, Razor Emporium's website, and it's listed on there as being 106 grams, so a little bit heavier than I thought initially. It is a heavy razor. I had a lot of response last week to my shave. A lot of comments have come in. Yeah, it's been very good actually, a very good response, so I'm very pleased. And I'll talk more about that as we go along. I'm just trying to concentrate. There we are, my brush I think is loaded. Now I'll start to put this on the face. I've got a couple of days growth, so it should be a really good shave tonight. Do you know, I was having a conversation earlier via the comments section with Charles in Middle Tennessee, and we're having a little bit of a joke about visiting the Queen and shaving in the in the royal water closet, and it reminded me that when my mum and dad bought their first house after they were married, the gentleman that they bought it off was an elderly gentleman. And he used to work up at the Tyne shipyards up on Tyneside. And he had the whole of his bathroom fitted out with the original fittings from a luxury 1930s steam passenger liner that used to cross the Atlantic I believe there was a prize offered every year to be the fastest to cross the Atlantic. Well, of course, these old passenger liners that were very, very popular were decommissioned during the war and refitted and used to carry troops. And he had all the original fittings, my mum was telling me, all the wood panelling and porthole fittings and the original like taps and sinks and everything set up in the back room. And what a thing, eh? Imagine that. I think I should have this fitted out like a luxury liner. Perhaps a porthole up here somewhere. I quite fancy it, I must admit. Well, thankfully the soap is starting to look very good. I was looking in a bowl that I lost my train of thought because, you know, normally you get a little bit of lather in the bowl as I'm loading my brush, but there was just nothing happening in that bowl. The soap was disappearing into my brush, but there was absolutely not any soap in the bowl. But this looks very good indeed. I'll just add a little bit more water. Now, I have enjoyed using this during the week. I've really enjoyed it. In fact, it's a fabulous razor. Perhaps the most comments I received were about the price of the razor and how it is very expensive. I can't disagree with anybody who thinks that it is an expensive razor. It's more than I could afford to spend on a razor at this current time. But I have been loving it, I must admit. I've got 3 blades in it. Well, I've got 1 blade in each razor tonight. I've got a Persona Super made in America. That a brand new blade for tonight. So I'm going to go with the right hand side of my face with the Rex, the King. Honestly, this is very easy to shave with, and the weight makes it very nice. I've gotten used to the weight a little bit. Now, Gordon has asked me, you know, is it really that good? And I have to say, yes, it is. It shaves really well. But for the price, I couldn't say that it was better than my Moolah R41, which I love. It gives a fantastic shave, but it just feels very, very different in the weight, the thickness of the handle. But honestly, it's a fantastic razor. It shaves really well. Is it worth the money? Well, I don't know. That's up to you, isn't it, to decide. I would really like to see, because I really like the Gillette Slim's brass finish with nickel plating, and I tell you what, I'd like to see one of these finished like that. And of course it would perhaps bring the weight down to about 80 grams, so you know, it would be a different feel to the razor entirely, but I think that would be really, really very nice. Now, that was on setting 3. I just double checked that it was on setting 3, so I'm going to try the original, the little Gibbs number 17, a 3-inch handle rather than the 3.5 inch. I've got this on setting 3 as well, and I'll tell you straight away that it is just slightly more aggressive, but it does feel to be a very similar shave, and I've no doubt it feels just a touch slightly more aggressive, but there's really not much in it at all. What I notice about the Gibbs is it's just a little easier over the skin. Perhaps that's because of the polished finish. But again, it is a very, very slight difference. You know, there's really not much in it at all. There we are, that was a very quick first pass, wasn't it? Very, very nice. Can you see that, you know, you can obviously see that they are alike, that the styling of the Ambassador is just like the Gibbs number 17. What I particularly like about both of them, I'll just rinse this. What I particularly like is the shape of the guard bar. You can see here it comes down to a point. When that's tilted on your skin, that feels very, very nice indeed. Now, I wanted to show you the difference between that and a sort of traditional guard bar of the Gillette Slim. I know from experience that I much prefer this shape to the head of the razor. It's a slightly shallower head, and that guard bar is a very, very nice shape indeed. It makes for a very, very smooth feeling shave. I think it just lessens the contact with the skin perhaps. But I like it. I like it a lot. So for this shape, for this pass, I'm going to go with the Ambassador on the right hand side still, and I'm going to try the Slim on the left hand side of my face, just for a bit of fun really. Now, the reason I've mentioned the guard bar on the Slim is because Gerard has informed me that the Rex Supply Company are making a newer version of the Rex Ambassador. Now, I mentioned last week about the machine marks in top cap that you can see. They didn't show up on the video. Let me just let me just wipe that top cap and hold it up and see if you can catch the marks there. There, maybe you can there on the my right hand side. Anyway, the new version is going to be more highly polished to remove those marks. Now, I must admit, I don't really understand why they didn't do that first time out with this one. I know it's got a brushed steel finish, but all that means is that they didn't take it to the next level. When you're polishing something, you polish with finer and finer and finer grits. And that builds up the shine on the razor. So when I say it's a brushed steel finish, it just means they haven't polished it to the extent that they could. Well, that's what I think anyway, that's what I believe. Obviously they're going to go a step further and just take out those marks, but for $250, I don't know, you know, they could have done that first time round. I'm guessing they didn't because there'll be a price implication. You know, if somebody has got to polish, or a machine even has got to polish, however many number of razors, and that's going to take time and that costs money, so perhaps that's the reason why. But they are also apparently going to make the guard bar bigger. And I think that would be a mistake, because I think this one is excellent, really excellent. So I've got my Gillette Slim on 3, just so I can feel the difference. And I'll tell you what, a number 3 on a Gillette Slim is nowhere near a nowhere near a number 3 on the Rex Ambassador. So I'm going to put that up to 5. Yeah, we're about there. But it is, as I say, like comparing zebras with thoroughbred racehorses, it is a completely different razor, a completely different feel and a completely different shave. I'm having to roll back further on the head with the Gillette Slim to get the right angle. I mean, you all know that the Gillette Slim is a great razor. It's one of the classics. But it is quite a mild razor. It feels so different because it's narrower, it's not as heavy, and out of the two, if I was pushed, I would say the Rex Ambassador is the better razor. The better shave, that's a better way of putting it, isn't it? They're just different, that's it. That's it at the end of the day. So Brian, I know I haven't really answered your question or done a direct comparison, but I thought that was quite difficult. What I do know is that guard bar feels quite different on my face to this one. You can see the difference if I put them up together. You know, they're not too different in height, but the shape of that guard bar is It's a different feel entirely. Anyway, there we go. That's my shave. It's more or less done. I lost my flannel. What the heck? Of course, I don't know where that's gone. I had it a minute ago. Anyway, the magical disappearing flannel. I think with these adjustables, you know, if you're a manufacturer, then an adjustable is a catch-all. But if you're like me, I don't really use the adjustable mechanism other than to set it on the setting that I like. But with all these adjustables, what strikes me is that, you know, it really is a razor for life. So, you know, if you've got, if you're a young man with not much growth and light hair, you use it on a setting 1 or a setting 2, and by the time you get to my age, you know, with a big coarser hair, you may be on setting 4, and as you get older and your hair grows coarser, maybe you go up further. But yeah, very interesting. A razor for life, whichever one you choose. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? If you're paying $250 for a razor, you really want it to be a razor for life. And I must admit, I'd be very happy with the Ambassador as my only razor, but you know, I've got 12 razors, so you know, that's not exactly normal, is it? Let's face it. So I'm going to just use some, that soap is quite scented, it's quite nice, but I'm just going to use some Nivea Sensitive Cooling Balm tonight. Just having a quick look at my notes to see if there is anything I've missed. Now, it was brought to my attention that when you pay that much for a razor, perhaps if you used it in a hard water area, the internal mechanism would become calcified in time with the limescale. And actually, that's a very good point. At least with the Gibbs razor, I can completely take it apart and wipe it down. Of course, this one I can't. So I'm very fortunate in that I live in a very soft water area, but I've never really encountered heavy limescale. But I would imagine that it could really damage the internals of a razor, and you would have to keep it clean and wash away that limescale. Very difficult indeed. So thank you to the gentleman that brought that up. I think that was a very worthwhile point, and I'm sorry I've forgotten to write your name down. I do apologise for that, but you made a very excellent point. Now, that is my shave. I will shave with a different razor next week. I will still keep the Rex Ambassador Elvis in my den and use it as my daily shaver, but I have a different razor that I'm going to use next week. So until then, you all look after yourselves. The very best to you, and have a good week, and I'll see you soon. Take care now. Bye bye.